Well, let's start with a recap of the win over Virginia. Always great to get a win on the road, and especially a conference win at that, and found a way to overcome an inspired team. Had a good crowd noise. We definitely had to deal with some injuries that, fortunately for us, aren't long-term, but definitely played a part in the game, and battled and found a way to win. I think Tony Elliott's doing a nice job there. They played hard. They had a good plan. We had to play in the rain, and so there was a lot of things going on. With all that, I think there's a lot of things that we did well, and obviously there's always things you have to do better. Offensively, loved the way that we finished the first half. Thought that was a huge drive to get that score. And then to be able to score at the end of the third quarter, score again, obviously to win the game. We were 100% in the red zone. I thought we caught the football better offensively and in some tough conditions at that. Some negatives. Playing on the road in the rain for Coop, first time as a center in that situation. I thought he did a really good job snapping the football, but there were some things on the line of scrimmage that he can do better and will. It was a great experience for him. But there were some good pressures and line stunts and movements. And it wasn't that schematically they were doing anything. I think for us, fundamentally, we need to be better at picking up some of those things with our footwork, our eyes, where we fell short. I thought Brennan did a good job getting out of some things and helping us with his legs, but to make it easier on him, fell short of our goals scoring-wise. The one drive where we threw the pick definitely was a drive we could have got points on, and that would have helped quite a bit in that game. Defensively, I thought we did a really good job against their run game, held their tailbacks to less than 3 yards a carry. D-line, I thought, did a tremendous job penetrating, disrupting, playing the backside cut blocks that they run with their stretch scheme, setting edges. Caden Fordham, I thought him and Peyton were very active at linebacker. I thought C.J. Clark played his best game of the year to date. We were good on third down, had two really critical interceptions, both exceptional plays. The tip back from Bishop Fitzgerald, and then the effort diving interception on that play by Sean Brown was a tremendous play, and then Aiden White's play down in the red zone. They caught us in a three-deep zone blitz and ran four verticals, a great play call by them. And Robert Kennedy does a great job rerouting the second receiver, and Aiden's able to overlap and intercept the ball. That was a huge play in the game. And big plays, and then the fourth down stop, another big play for us. So really 3 turnovers there that helped our team. I thought our eye discipline improved quite a bit. It was an area that we focused on a lot after the Notre Dame game, and Sean Brown played his best game. I thought he was really good in this football game. There was one sudden change opportunity where we turned the ball over offensively, and our defense 3-and-outed them. So responded well. Negatives, we missed too many tackles, gave up too many explosives because of that. And so got to be better in that area, obviously getting ready for an explosive team. I thought their quarterback did some really good things on the run, and made some plays with his legs. Their 2 longest runs were him on QB draws, and did some good things scrambling around the receivers for Virginia, along with him scrambling, created some plays, and we got to be better there, against a running quarterback to be able to stay in coverage in the right areas. So our special teams, again, were a difference. Our punter, Caden Nooncastor, punted 50-yard net. He flipped the field multiple times in that game, which was huge. I thought Julian Gray, our returner on that last kickoff return, was exceptional, outrunning 3 unblocked guys to the field to get us out to the 50. And then to see Braden make the game winner, not that I didn't expect him to make it, but sometimes when you have a situation like that where a ball is blocked, even though it was an illegal play, mentally for him to be strong enough just to come right back and drill that kick, that was awesome to see. So, really proud of what those guys put on tape. Now we get to come home and be in Raleigh for a while. Excited about that, and a chance to play a really good team in Louisville. I know it came out on social media today, but it's a blackout and to have our black jerseys on and our fans in a night game on Friday night. Hopefully we'll have a game without rain and really need the crowd behind us in this one. Going up against a top offense in the ACC. They lead the ACC in scoring offense, rushing offense, passing offense. So great challenge, and 12th man is real. And when our crowd is behind us, it's helpful. It's a dominant thing. There's a reason that, we had such a streak going at one time. And our night games, particularly our Friday night games, have been special evenings. And so looking forward to having a wild, rowdy crowd that is doing the right things for our football team and making life hard on the opponent. That crowd noise is huge. So excited, to get back in Carter Finley Stadium, and also to have Coach Bill Cowher, having his name put up in the Ring of Honor on our stadium. Great opportunity for us to recognize a great Wolfpack alum that's obviously a Hall of Fame coach and Super Bowl champion coach and been a tremendous mentor to me. So very proud to get to be a part of that experience and get to visit with Coach again and have him present with his family and loved ones for this game. I think it's awesome that Boo and the administration is honoring him in such a way, because ever since I've been here, he's just been such an incredible guy to me for no reason other than he loves NC State. And so I'm just really happy that we're getting a chance to have them here and put his name up there on that. Definitely something that means a lot to our program. Questions?
Corey?
Dave, with Dylan McMahon and Devin Boykin being off the depth chart this week, we can assume they're not playing. What is their status at this point?
It's day to day. They're both getting better. Devin's actually doing a lot better than expected. And so there's a long shot, but there's a chance he'll play. I have to put those out when I get the information I get, so things do change. But Dylan's doing a lot better. I just saw him upstairs watching film, so it's not a long-term thing. It's just, how fast their bodies will allow them to get back, and they're both doing well. Not as well as we would hope them to be, but a lot better than they could be.
Who have you picked to do a cartwheel on the scout team? Could Kaden Smith or Alan Van pull that off? And have you ever seen that before?
No, I haven't even thought about it, to be honest.
Daniel?
Hey, Coach. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the current wide receiver rotation and how you could possibly optimize it moving forward.
In what way?
Just getting, more touches for the ones that have proved so far to the ones that have gotten more touches, basically.
Yeah. I think with Coach and I, as this thing goes, I think I've had this statement a million times, it's evolving. And so KC obviously has been the most consistent playmaker. I do know there's an emphasis in trying to spread the ball around more. But at the end of the day, Brennan's going to throw it to the guys that are open, and they got to make catches and do things with it. I think, Keon Lassane and Julian Gray are two guys that make plays when they get the ball and finding ways to do that. I think you saw 2 games ago, Julian in the slot some had an explosive play down the seam on one of the third downs. So as this offense grows and these guys learn more and more, you'll see that. But, again, it's in progress, I think, is the best way to say it. And you got some guys that are trying to get in different spots on the field with Coach and I's system. And I think there's just a chemistry that's growing and growing as this thing goes.
Thank you.
Aaron?
Yeah, Dave, defense has been a multi-year strength for your group, something you could really, use with complementary football. And yet this is a time when offenses seem to have every advantage in a lot of ways with the rules and what people want to see. I'm kind of curious, how difficult is it for defenses to do like what your group is doing right now and has done the last year or two, where they're, hanging in there and playing well and contributing against strong offenses in this day and age?
No, I agree with what you're saying. It is hard. And, Coach Gibson and that side of the ball, that staff has done a great job. The kids we've recruited play really hard. They're completely invested and bought in. There's an edge to them. There's an attitude to them. They like challenges too. I think they're really excited to play this Louisville offense because of what they've done. They've got a good scheme. They've got good players. They play fast. And so, games like this as a defense, it's a challenge and it's also exciting, to go out there with that opportunity to do something other teams haven't done well. But, yeah, in college football, you can't touch people much anymore and get away with it. And, the pass interference part of the game is, even in the NFL level, it's very hard, with the way things are being called. And the RPO game is what it is. But I think our kids have embraced what they are. They're aggressive. They're not going to let the offense dictate to them. They're going to dictate. They're going to get on the field and be, the aggressor. And I like that, and I think we're doing the best that we can, to make sure that as a defense, we're not allowing someone else to tell us, this is how you're going to play. We're going to play aggressive. And our guys have to play within the rules, obviously, but you learn how to do that, over time. You learn what the refs will allow you to do and not allow you to do. And most of the time you can play that way, Sometimes the refs will get a little bit on, the flag-happy side of things. But most of the time, as long as you're doing what they tell you you can do, you can play with that aggressive attitude and do the right things.
Ethan?
Hey, Coach. Anthony Belton has been grading out really well in the past couple of weeks, and it looks like he's taken another step forward, especially in pass protection. Just what have you seen out of him so far through 4 games?
Yeah, I thought he got last week. I thought was his best game. I thought he finished blocks the way I would hope that he could with his ability. He's very gifted. He tries really hard to improve each week. Does a really good job studying film. Understands the opponent. And he'll have a challenge this week. Both tackles will to the field. I think Louisville's defensive end number 9 is a really good football player. But Anthony has really helped our football team. He's gotten better, and to his credit, when he hasn't succeeded, he takes it to heart. He looks at it. He understands where he can improve, and he goes to work at it.
Noah?
Coach, it seems like Red Higgler's had a big, impact on defensive line through the first 4 games. What did you see from him?
Yeah, I mean, Red's what we were hoping he'd be. He's a really good pass rusher. When we took him, he's a little different size-wise. He's kind of a hybrid guy, but, man, has he got a good get-off. He can bend. He's got super long arms. So his ability to pass rush in our dime package and to impact the game that way, I mean, he's probably playing 10 to 15 snaps a game, but he's 3.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles already in the season, and he's a tough kid. He doesn't say a whole lot. He just shows up and works really hard, and he's got a knack for it. So I'm glad he's here. That was what we needed. When we lost Daniel Joseph a few years ago, I felt like that was an area of our defense that could improve, really, him and Levi. That year we had 2 pretty good pass rushers, Levi Jones. And so getting Red in this last recruiting class was what we were hoping he would be, and so far so good.
Jaden?
Hey Dave, on Friday you talked about a desire to kind of pare down the playbook a little bit, and improve in some more specific areas. What does that process of, slimming that playbook, what does that kind of look like for y'all?
I think as we looked at it, you guys ask me questions 10 minutes after I walk out of a locker room like I'm supposed to have the game memorized at every position, and sometimes you're not right, in those settings. To me, watching the film, our mistakes aren't in the fact that we have to narrow it down. We have to be better fundamentally. And so it's going back to your fundamentals. As an offensive lineman, getting your first step and your second step in the ground, playing with independent feet, your hand placement, your eyes, where we're pointing and protections, just little basic things. One play, a guy does it right, the next play he doesn't, and he gets exposed. It's fundamental focus, and that's really where the emphasis is. It's not necessarily paring it down as much as it is honing our technique and our fundamentals. And so that's the biggest area. I think, some of our position groups, I thought our receivers improved in those areas. As blockers, whether it's running backs or tight ends or O-linemen, I think we can be better. I know we can be better in those areas. And so, it doesn't matter what the play is you call. If you're not using good fundamentals and technique as blockers, it's not going to be a successful play. So that's been the area of emphasis, and that's kind of where we're putting all of our eggs right now.
Rob?
Yes, Dave, you mentioned Bill Power. Obviously the lineage of NC State. You're actually close in on the record yourself. What does it mean to you, the lineage of NC State athletics? How important is it to you to contribute to that lineage? Just speak to those things if you don't mind, sir.
I think as a human being, really, we talk about the dash in our program, that your birth date, the dash, and then whatever that date is, you expire, and that dash is your legacy. That's what you stood for. It's what you meant. It's what you leave behind. And obviously, Coach Cower has left a tremendous legacy in coaching, and as a player here, as a two-sport athlete, as a mentor in the coaching profession, as now an announcer that does a tremendous job, so respected and looked up to in the profession and amongst peers and people that don't know him, just seeing what he's done and what he meant for the Steelers organization. As far as me, I guess that's not my job to do that. My job is to do the best that I can. And when I don't do exactly what I want, when I fail, is to learn from my failures and just keep grinding and pushing. And I feel like I've done that here. We've evolved, we've improved, we've been consistent. We've graduated a lot of players. We've made an impact in our community. We play tough, hard-nosed football. We don't quit in games, and those are things I'm proud of. There's other things that are unaccomplished here yet, and those are the things I want to continue to strive for. What my legacy will be here, time will tell. But, I think one thing I am proud of is the culture we've created, the consistency that we have, what we stand for, the reputation that we have in the profession and in the state, the way that we treat our players. Those are the things that are meaningful to me. And that's really all I can control. How people look at me from the outside, I don't really know. But I'm going to do the best I can to represent the school that I love and do everything I can to help it achieve, to the highest level that I can.
JB?
Hey, Dave, appreciate you taking out the time as usual. I wanted to go back to the point that you made about how you want your defense to kind of control the pace of these games and be aggressive. I'm curious to know what you've seen on film so far from Louisville. They've scored 56 points twice this year already, and their offense is rolling. What's it going to take for your defense to control that narrative, like we said, this Friday night?
Yeah, it's a tall order, I think their tailback, obviously he took a return back for a touchdown on us last year. He's a dynamic player. As a runner, as a returner, as a ball catcher. Quarterback was tremendous down the field last week. Coach Brom has got a good scheme. He's got good talent, the receiving core. There's multiple guys that they get the ball to. Obviously, number one is having a special year so far for them. And we've played against several of these guys, so we know, the talent that's there. It wasn't an empty cupboard by any means. There's good skill on that football team. Their center and two guards are tough. But I think, the accuracy that the quarterback threw the ball downfield with is the biggest thing. Like, they're an explosive play offense. They are, and they have explosive players. And they'll take shots, And so you've got to do a good job of staying on top and defending deep balls. And then you have to pressure the quarterback, and not just with blitzes. You have to do different things to make it hard for him after the snap and not just let him pre-snap know everything that you're in. And so it's going to be that kind of game. It's a really good offense with good players and a good coach. And, so that's the challenge you love. As coach and players, we get to go up against that and see if we can do our part to make it hard on him. See if he can handle pressure, if he can handle disguise, if he can handle post-snap movement. And then we got to win one-on-ones. There's going to be a bunch of them, whether it's pass rush or it's one-on-one in coverage. We got to make plays. And at the end of the day, the team that makes the most plays is going to have the best day. And so that's the challenge you have. And that's just the defensive side of the ball we're talking about. But, yeah, I think, seen Coach Braum for a while. Obviously didn't coach against him when he was at Purdue, but have watched his teams over the years, and he's a really good offensive coach.
Noah?
Kind of touched on it, but does the style of play they play on offense, going downfield a lot, does that put more pressure on a secondary of the defense to kind of play a little bit tighter, knowing that, you're going to be one-on-one on kind of on an island there?
Well, I mean, that depends on the defensive call. As a corner or a nickel or a safety, if we're man-to-man, then, yeah, they're on islands. Sometimes they'll have help over the top. Sometimes they won't. Those are the kind of kids we recruit, though. They want that. And, I think good DBs look forward to the opportunity to be on an island. That's the challenge they want. And, for us, we're not going to put them on it all day long. We're going to mix it and change it up enough where it's not a here they are one-on-one for 65 plays or 80 plays. We're going to make them earn it. And sometimes you roll the corners up and play help with your safeties. Sometimes you buzz a backer out underneath and bail a corner. There's different techniques that you can do to take some of the stress off of those guys so it's not every down one-on-one football. And that's what you have to do, in my opinion. And that's why I switched from the 4-2-5 to the 3-3-5. I felt like this defense allows you to do that in the secondary more and still stop the run, to rotate coverage, to disguise coverage, to bring pressures. And when you're playing a team that has a dynamic wideout, to be able to give help when needed. So far it's been great for us, and I think the biggest thing is just the execution within what's going on this week. It's no different than any other offense you play. You got to know what their strengths are, and we're going to know theirs well by the end of the week, and we got to go out and execute.
JC?
Conversely, when you look at how much Louisville's defense has changed, they blitzed everything, it seemed like last year at 50 sacks. Do you see this more of a game where you can challenge the offensive line to be more physical?
Yeah, they have changed a lot. You're right. They were very aggressive last year, ton of man coverage, ton of pressure, and were very disruptive, created lots of turnovers last year in their defense. They're playing really sound right now. Not going to say they're basic. They're not. They do different things and change coverages, and they do have some pressures. But their kids are playing good technique. I think both their corners are good players. I mean, they feel confident about them out there. You can see that in what they're asking them to do. And so, we ask our offensive line, to answer your question, to be physical every week. And that's a staple of our program. I mean, we don't say, hey, guys, this week, take it easy on them. Let's not have any pancakes, it's not how we coach. Some weeks you do better than other weeks, and I think for our guys, it's about fundamentals. I've said it already, I'll say it again. It doesn't matter if they blitz 60 times or 5 times. It's going to be about our fundamentals and our hat placement, our pad level, our hands, our feet, and, the demeanor that we want to play with. And so that will never change, and we just need to do a better job of getting the results.
Ethan?
Coach, how would you assess the play of your tight ends so far this season, and what are you looking for them to improve in both the passing game and run blocking as well?
Yeah. Trent Penix, thankfully he's healthy now and he's playing more, and trying to get him more involved in what we're doing. His play count's gone up each week of the season. And so, trying to find ways to involve him in what we're doing. Chris Tootle was playing quite a bit early on and had a setback health-wise, and now he's back with us in practice. So, it hasn't been a very productive position yet in the pass game. Trent missed almost all of training camp, and then Chris played 2 games and then was hurt, and now Trent's back. So, it's kind of early to really give you a true assessment. I think right now it's been inconsistent because of injury more than anything. We've used Jacarius Peak as a tight end quite a bit as a blocker, and he's done a great job. When he's gone in, it's been very physical at the point of attack. And so, Robert's just looking for creative ways, to continue to use that position right now.
Thank you.
Rob?
Yeah, you have an opportunity, Dave, this week to be 4-1, 2-0 in the ACC. Kind of a weird way to get there, but you have a chance to get there. And what type of resolve, characteristics have you seen, intangibles from your kids, I guess, the first quarter of the season so far?
Well, they're a fun group to coach. You know, they are. They come to practice with great attitudes. They work hard. They're intentional about improving. And I'm seeing that, you know, and I think that's the one thing that excites me about this team. You know, I think we played a really good Notre Dame team in the second week and didn't play the way that we were capable of. Learned a lot in that game. And we're sitting here 3-1, and I'm excited about it. You know, I'd love for this team to get a little bit healthier. That's one thing. And the good news is they're not season-ending things other than Jaquin's, you know, but we need to get some more of these dudes back out there. But the attitude and the effort and the individual improvements within the roster have been noticeable, and those things excite me, you know, quite a bit. And I think that's what you want, is you want to get better each week individually so that you can get better collectively. And I think our special teams has been very, very good. You know, we lost the Garoza winner at kicker, as you guys know, and really a second-year punter, first-year holder, and some things have really transpired there. Both our returners, you know, are doing some great things, and so there's been some those were big question marks going into the year, you know, and so those are some things that have jumped out as a positive. So it's kind of where we're at.
We're gonna wrap this up. Ethan, you wanna take the last one?
Yeah, Coach, I just wanted to, going off of that, I wanted to ask about the look you guys threw at UVA where you had both Jalen and Julian back at punt return. What did you see there what did Coach Goble see to kind of take advantage of something? Was it UVA specific or just wasn't into that?
No, we've practiced two returners all year. Just hadn't used it yet, and the weather was windy and rainy, and felt like it was a smart thing to do to make sure the ball wasn't hitting the ground, rolling all over the place back there. So it was more about the field and the wind and rain weather conditions than it was anything. But we trust both those guys as punt returners, and obviously it allows us to have an extra hat back there too. So, you know, if they kick it to one or the other guy can get the party started on the return, and in case there's someone that gets beat, you know, coming down the field, you have an extra guy back there to be his kind of his personal protector.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you, guys.